What is the biggest misconception of you? What's one thing people think about you, but it's not true?
I'd say one of the biggest misconceptions, I guess, especially people who don't even really know me, they maybe just seen one video, is they look at me as just sort of this, they might think I'm just like a square white guy or something like that. They don't really understand that, I grew up in the Bronx. All my friends were black and Latino growing up. So like, especially if I'm in a cop uniform, that's why it makes it so funny, a lot of stuff, because they see, they picture how a white guy is in their mind, but then they meet me and they see like, I understand the culture and I'm part of it and everything.
Is that hard to play then, a square person?
No, it's not hard at all. I mean, I'm just doing my normal thing as far as if I'm playing a cop role, but it's funny, obviously, because I know all of the hip hop language and I come from that world, so it just makes for funny content, when I'm able to switch gears, so to speak, from going from, hey, like put your hands on the wall to like, oh yeah, shit's lit, homie, like, it just makes for good comedy,
Now, craziest rumor you heard about yourself?
Craziest rumor I've heard about myself. I don't think I've heard too many crazy rumors. I guess maybe like people always think like, I smash every girl that's in my skit, but like, I keep it really professional for the most part. I rather, especially in this Me Too world we live in now, you gotta be careful, so I keep it pretty, professional with that. But yeah, I think everyone just thinks I'm like drowning in pussy, but it's not always the case with Instagram influencers.
You used some key words though. You said for the most part.
Yeah.
And you said that's not always the case. So does that mean you have?
Yeah, there's always some. I mean, I'm not going to downplay that at all. Obviously I enjoy being in the limelight now and get a lot more attention than I would if social media didn't exist. But, I'm a gentleman and a scholar, so, I keep that to myself.
With some of these skits and some of the women, have you had off-camera relationships with them?
Here and there, but for the most part, I keep it really professional just because I like to have someone that's reliable, especially because if you've watched my content, I do a lot of like sexually charged stuff, so I'd rather have a girl really trust me and know that, make sure she's comfortable. Like I always explain to the girl beforehand like what we're gonna do in the skit. I don't ever put her in a pressure situation where it's like, okay, you're gonna be doing this and that, like, I make sure they're very comfortable, and then I think that's allows us to make some really good content together.
Now, is there a question people ask you?
Yeah,
you can't stand?
Are you really a cop? Like, they ask me that all the time. I'm like, wouldn't it be obvious by now that I'm not a cop? Like, how can you still? I made a whole freestyle for the pussy challenge, like and millions of people saw that, and people still come up to me in the street thinking I'm a cop. So like, it's just silly to me, like that people. It just shows how like simple people are on the internet minded. How they just don't think about like, why would a real cop? He would be fired like if he did this.
Do you think people think that because you're really good at these skits at portraying this cop character?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is because I think I'm doing something that's very original that no one else has really done. I got the police uniform out of, when I joined the Actors Union back in 2012, my friends were like, oh, if you get a cop uniform, you can work as an extra like 3 or 4 days a week and earn a pretty good living while you're auditioning and doing all this stuff. So I got the uniform when I was working on shows like Law & Order SVU, like, there's a million, like all the cop drama shows they shoot in New York, and you can make, $30,000, $40,000 a year while you're still pursuing your dreams and everything. So having the uniform, I just started making content with it, and, because no one else has a real official, like, NYPD uniform like I had, and then obviously I'm a trained actor, so I can just bring that natural authority to the camera, and obviously me being so heavily influenced by hip hop and being able to freestyle, rap, and all those sorts of things, it's really create a really dope lane, and now I'm sort of this figure in the urban entertainment hip hop industry where like pretty much like if you're in that world, like you've seen my content and it speaks for itself, opens a lot of doors.
When you were doing social media skits using the cop uniform, were you simultaneously still playing the cop part in some of these TV roles like you were talking about? Or was there a significant break?
At that point when I started blowing up in social media about 2.5 years ago, I was still doing a little bit of extra work, but I basically cut it off at that point because I was there to focus on speaking roles because I've been doing mainstream TV film since 2014. Last year I worked on Power. I've been in we had a scene with Kate Winslet and Wonder Wheel. A lot of like co-star roles, like over a dozen. I worked on Tosh.0 recently. So yeah, it's just something I was doing is like one hand washes the other. So like for example, when I booked Power, I had auditioned the traditional way with the casting director, Christine Cromer, who I had booked the breaks with. And when I got to set, after I got booked and I met the director, Slick Naeem, he was like, "Oh, I really love your work. I saw your work on so-and-so's page." So clearly that was a situation where the social media presence helped me get the role. Obviously, it helped me being a good actor, but like him recognizing me from social media helped seal the deal.
Do you have any family members that are actual cops?
No, I don't think. Actually, wait, I think I might have like an uncle or something, or a distant cousin who's like a detective or something like that. But for the most part, the law enforcement community really loves my content that I do. Back in New York, I'd have cops coming up to me all the time. I'd be walking down the street smoking a joint, and they're like, "Hey, yo, Jacob!" Like, I hear whoop whoop. I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, "Yo, you want to take a picture with you, man?" I'm like, "Ah, no doubt." Like, or like someone like, "Yo, take a message from my partner." Like call him a fucking pussy, like or something like that. Because I think I do a good job of sort of like humanizing the badge, but also holding them accountable for a lot of social injustice and racial profiling things that police are known to do. So that's why I think this character, it's so loved by both law enforcement and the community. And I think if communities were smart, they would actually hire me, wink wink LAPD, hire me to do some community outreach, because I would have cops come up to me in New York telling me kids would come up to them in the street, in their precincts or whatever on the street, like, "Yo, officer, that guy Officer Berger from Instagram, is he a real cop? Is he like with you guys?" So obviously I'm doing some good for the community, I think, with the content.
But have you ever done like a ride along with a cop before, or?
No, I've been wanting to. I actually recently spoke to Beverly Hills Police Department, and they agreed in principle if I came up with a good skit idea that we could do something together. So obviously I can't do something that like clowns them and makes them look stupid, so it's got to be something good. Maybe like I'm there for roll call and I'm like the new sergeant or something like that. But I'd love to go for a ride along, because I want to always keep what I do as real as possible. Because I remember when I first started doing skits, like I didn't really handle too many guns. So one comment was like, why is your finger on the trigger? Like, you gotta have a better trigger. So I went to my friend's house in Pennsylvania, like shooting guns, and so I learned how to like properly like hold a gun, how to enter a room, how to like do searches, like because I just want to make it as realistic as possible when I'm doing it in the content I make.
Have you used active duty police in some of these skits?
No, I don't think the CEOs, that's the commanding officers, would sign off on that necessarily. I've seen my friends sneak some in every now and then in Times Square, like in a dance skit. But no, it's just been just me. That's the fake police in the skits.
And has your recognition ever gotten you out of literal trouble before?
Well, I haven't gotten it, but I remember my friend Ken. He once was getting arrested for smoking a blunt, like out like in the street, and the cop like, "Oh, you're the guy who does the videos with Jacob Berger, Officer Berger. Ah, you good?" I got him out of that shit, So I thought that was like a pretty cool thing that had happened as far as my fame helping get a friend out of a tricky situation. But I'm a saint. I don't do nothing illegal or nothing like that.
And what state did that actually happen in?
In New York or New Jersey, I think he was in or something.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, do you care what people think of you?
Do I care about what?
Do you care what people think of you? Do you care about people's opinions?
No. I mean, that's at the end of the day, you have to care. Like, you have to have confidence in yourself to really move forward with your dream and whatever you want to present to the world. That's why I laugh at things like trolls. Like, to me, like, I just take pity on them. Like, when they leave, "Oh, you're so old doing skits. Like, whatever. Oh, you must pay." Like, I just laugh because I chuckle because I have a track record of success. Like, and they're just like jealous creatures because no one has ever come up to me in the real world to talk shit. Like, no one ever does that. Like, it's only internet pussies that do that shit, that talk wild shit, like us, internet, like, especially when I do something, say I'm like doing a crip walk in a video, like, "Yo, I'm my rolling 60 crip cuz," like talking wild. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, if you was a real crip, you would not care about some internet comedian doing a silly dance on a video. Like, chill the fuck out, so. In other words, so I really don't care what people think. I'm doing me, and I think that's what people are attracted to, is I'm genuine, I'm real. I'm not putting on a show. Like, this is just Jacob being Jacob, and I think people just really respect that.
Now, have you always been like this, or was there a point in your life when you actually did care about other people's opinions of you?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I used to be a social worker before I became an actor. I went to graduate school, got my master's, was doing counseling and stuff like that, and I was probably, not as secure and confident as I am today. And I guess also I cared more when I first started out in my acting career because, you need validating moments. So it takes time to get those validating moments. So once you start getting these validating moments and success, that builds the confidence in you, and then you don't even look back. And, You know, I feel like me personally, I'm in a great place now in my career. I'm 34. I'm positioned to kill it. I'm gonna keep killing it on the gram, keep getting bigger on TV. So then by the time I hit my 40, that's like my 5-year plan. Like, you know, because I don't think I want to be still doing Instagram by the time I'm 40. Like, I feel like I want to transition. Hopefully, I'll be like a series regular on a TV show or something by then. You know.
Now I know when people do, and this is in reference to when you did care more so about people's opinions of you. But, you know, when people do care about other people's opinions of them, obviously that can lead to certain health issues.
Yeah.
Can lead to a certain level of stress. Can
Of course.
lead to anxiety,
Of
depression.
Course. Yeah.
Worst case, suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
I've heard these things.
Yeah. Luckily, I haven't, not in recent times, no. Because like I said, I used to be actually a mental health counselor, so I very much am conscious of self-care, and I'm very sort of conscious of when I react to things, because at the end of the day, you can only control yourself. You can't control other people. You're gonna go crazy trying to do that. So I always keep things in perspective, and I feel even in my worst day, like I'm blessed to be where I am and who I am, and I never, you know, there's always a brighter day. Like I've always keep it very positive, and luckily I haven't had to face any of those like issues, especially now that I'm in a great place. I'm just always pretty happy.
Now, that I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Because you did counseling. You counseled others at one point.
Oh yeah, people with severe mental illness, substance abuse issues, those sorts of things, yeah.
But do counselors themselves ever get counseled themselves?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of therapists who have therapists and stuff like that. You know, I had therapy when I was a kid and stuff like that every now and then, but for the most part, like I felt like I was taking care of my own kind of stuff, you know. And it's also when you have a good social network, some friends and family you can kind of vent to, because it was a hard job. You know, there were days where it was really tough, where it'd be hard to really like leave someone's stuff at home. Like, you know, I'm going home to my apartment, but they're like homeless or living on, you know, and that's very hard, like, you know, to not think about your clients when you leave the office. So that would get me down. But in a weird way, I feel like I'm still doing social work, but I'm doing it on a grander scale now with my content, because I get messages all the time from people like, you know, oh, you know, I'd be very sad. Like your videos put a smile on my face. Like, thank you so much, you know. So in a way, I'm kind of still doing social work.
What are your keys to success at this point? What are some things that make you successful?
I'd say a really important key to success is hustle. One thing I've noticed moving to LA 9 months ago is that people are generally very lazy, and like on the West Coast. Like I feel like people from the East Coast, especially New York, but East Coast in general, like they know how to be assertive and hustle and grind, because those are the things you can control. Like as an entertainer, as an actor, there's so much that's out of your control, but the one thing you can't control is your hustle, like how hard you work. And I see actors complain and whine all the time, but the bottom line is they're not putting in the work. Like I put in years to this shit so far. Like I've sacrificed friendships, girlfriends, like you know, all in pursuit of like my dream and creating my legacy. And now that it's all paying off, it's really like, you know, it really touches my heart and really like makes me feel like I'm really blessed.
Hindsight 2020, especially, you know, like you said, losing a girlfriend or, you know, opportunity cost, if you want to use that phrase.
Yeah.
Has there been any regret on any of those decision makings there to get to this point where you're at now?
I mean, now that it's all really paying off, I really don't try to dwell on the past. A good analogy of this would be like when you audition, you know, a lot of actors, when they first start auditioning, like they go to an audition and after they leave, they're all stressing out about like, oh, second guessing their choices and this, that, and the third. Did I do good? Oh, are they going to call? Getting in their head. Me, once I audition, I don't even think I tear up the script. I don't even think I'm on to the next one. So I keep my vision totally set into the future and seeing, you know, how is today going to help me move closer to my goalpost, you know?